questions. Once we do that, please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question, and we'll have one of our mic holders on either side of the room get you the microphone for the benefit of our cameras plugged into the box. Coach?
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. And first of all, I want to give great credit to Stanford. That's an outstanding football team we just played. And David, I have a ton of respect for him and the way that they run their program. And I thought our guys came prepared to play an outstanding football team and really stuck to our plan. This started in January when we came back together after a long off season that none of us were happy with or pleased with, and quite frankly bitterly disappointed about, and started talking about what we need to do to change back to the culture that we've had here over my time. And the credit goes to our seniors first and foremost. They've done a terrific job leading, a terrific job getting this team prepared. And then obviously to our strength staff, Jay Hooten leads that group, and there is no doubt we were in great shape today, well conditioned, ready to play. And then Tori Lindley, our great athletic trainer, not to see. And we had a great plan for today. We expected heat. We expected, the humidity to be the way it was. And, I want to thank Mother Nature for last week's weather in Chicago. I thought that gave us a great chance to enact a plan, and Tori, his staff, Jay, his staff, and then obviously, our coaching staff to come up with a really good plan. But, proud of our guys. As I told them in the locker room, this is, stop one, on the train. So let's not act like we haven't been here before. So, look forward to watching the way that we mature here throughout the course of this week. We've just beaten a very good football team. And how are we going to handle a short week in preparing for a team coming in here next week that has a lot of young men from Chicagoland and a lot of young men that are going to be stoked up to play a Big Ten opponent. So proud of the guys for the win, and looking forward to cleaning up the things that we made mistakes on. So how about some questions, please?
And after that first Stanford drive, did you make any key adjustments on the defense from there?
No, absolutely no. There was nothing that we needed to adjust. Obviously, I think it's hard defensively to really truly get up to the speed of the game in training camp. You're so used to who you're playing against, and we had, if my recollection's right, we had opportunities to get off the field on that drive and we didn't, and that was probably what we were most disappointed on, was our inability to get off the field on third down.
It's any sense that maybe you got him by surprise a little bit in terms of Clayton's running ability, and he certainly made some throws that could have been interceptions that weren't. Evaluate all that, please.
I have no idea what you're talking about Clayton's ability to run, so I'm not going to. So I guess I'll keep that to myself. I think he, from a young man, from a standpoint of who he is as a young man, I think that's what you all saw today. I mean, he made some really good plays. He made some decisions he'd probably like to have back, and he'll learn and really grow from this. And I thought he played outstanding. I talked to him earlier in the week about not trying to outplay a fifth-year senior by just doing what we do. And through that, he outplayed a fifth-year senior. That's what I saw today. I thought he stayed within the framework of our offense. I don't think he tried to do too much. And I think that's a great win for him. From a standpoint of where's he going to go from here and where are we going to go? We got a lot of work to do, a lot of things to clean up, especially, there were a couple drives offensively that we really hurt ourselves, and we got to get that fixed in our game.
The third down throw to Schuler, does that stand out in your mind?
I think just the way, I'm not going to nitpick every play quite yet without watching the tape, Teddy, because maybe there's somebody else open that he could have just taken the nickel to get the first down, but I like the fact that he's being aggressive. I like the fact that he liked the matchup on the outside and took the one-on-one shot, and feel free to keep playing us in man. We've got our weapons back now with Christian and Miles and Danny, and Austin Carr played a big role. And then with the guys in the backfield. So, I thought Mick and the offensive staff had a great plan. I thought we brought Clayton into this game with the right kind of plan to get him going. And then, obviously the credit goes to him. And let's see how he handles the next challenge. From a standpoint of a game week. So I'm sure he'll be fine.
What were some of your primary concerns, or what were you kind of focused in on when you looked at the tape of Stanford heading into this, and how do you feel your team responded to those focal points?
Yeah, well, we talked about this game, and every football game is the same way, but this game for sure was going to needed to be one up front, and that's what I saw from the boundary. I thought that there was a dominant performance by our defensive line. It looked like we controlled the line of scrimmage on every single play, defensive line wise. And I thought our offensive line did some positive things, and obviously for us, when you look at our ability to run the ball for 225 yards and to hold them to 85, that was a dominant performance by us on the line of scrimmage. Now, perfect, no, but dominant from a standpoint of a team that we have the utmost respect for, the way that they have always played physical, the way that they've always come downhill and run the ball offensively, and then the same thing defensively. They were one of the most stout defensive fronts in the country, not only last year, but a bunch of years. So we talked to the guys about dominating up front to make this be a statement game about where we're at right now so that we can get better and improve and make it a statement game about recruiting. And I thought our guys made that kind of statement today. I think it's a very, very good football team.
Going back to Clayton, what have you been telling him throughout the week and especially on today about making mistakes and getting over the mistakes?
Yeah, well, we talk around here a lot about you just trusting yourself. You guys see us hit that board, and that's all we talk about. When you become a senior, it kind of becomes a broken record, but it works. Just trust what we do, trust how we've prepared. And then it's our job to make sure we don't ask them to do too much. And I thought Mick and the offensive staff had a great plan today, not asking them to do too much, not overloading them, especially with a defense that was as multiple as Stanford. Very, very multiple defense, and I thought he handled it very, very well.
Coach, you mentioned in the preseason that you wanted your team to take on the personality of your secondary, your defensive line. I mean, how, with those two units standing out today, how do you think your team did that?
I think test and challenge number one, I think it was a success. I really do. And now, especially looking at some of the things pass rush wise with our defensive line, we got some things to clean up. But it looked like we controlled the line of scrimmage from the defensive front standpoint. And, quite frankly, we expected some more play action pass over the top, and I think they only took one shot there. Same play, it's same concept. They attack the safety on a post that they ran multiple times against Notre Dame last year. So expected that to come, and, thank goodness Godwin won on that play.
Coach, you've made a point in the past about the fact that there are no preseason games, no exhibitions, so it's hard to maybe measure where your team is. To what extent were you pleasantly surprised or whatever based on what happened today?
Yeah, I thought our defense, especially up front in the secondary, and Anthony played a great game from an individual statistics standpoint, and he's just really coming into his own. But I think our defense really dominated today. It was probably one of the best performances I've seen our group play. Top to bottom against a ranked team, maybe in my time. So, Hank and the defensive staff had a great plan. They've got great players on offense. They don't have good players; they have great players. And hold them to 85 yards rushing and 240 total yards. That's a pretty dominant performance by our defense. Proud of them.
Fitz, for your after Walker appeared to have the interception there late in the fourth, for your defense to respond and get the pick on the goal line, how big was that for them to bounce back when that could have opened the door for Stanford?
Yeah, well, the guys talked about it all week. We've talked about it. Some of the areas that we needed to really improve is getting. I talked about getting back to our standard, and our standard around here is we for whatever reason we play in close games, and when we've been very good, we win close games and we finish the job. And that's what the guys were talking about in the locker room afterwards. It's a new team, and we know how to finish, and the defense finished the job. So tough call on Anthony. From my vantage point, it looked like it was uncatchable. But, good call. I thought the officiating was awesome. That was a great crew. They were terrific. Communication was outstanding. Appreciate those guys. When you get out of conference play, we had Pac-12 officials. I've never seen that crew before, so they were excellent. Hats off to them.
Coach, you had a couple of dominant defensive performances last year, too, against Penn State and Wisconsin. What makes you think, but it was sort of inconsistent with games like Iowa. What makes you think this can be what you see from this defense all year this year?
Because that's what they did today. That's all I got, man.
Fitz, last year, would you have had Walker kick that 49-yard field goal? It seems like you really got some confidence. Maybe from the Notre Dame game, you think you really got a lot of confidence now in the place-kicking game?
Yeah, you talking about Jack Mitchell?
Yeah, Mitchell.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, absolutely. Jack, I think, is starting to kind of come into his own a little bit. We talk every day, kind of how we're feeling. Again, I thought we had a great plan with our specialists today. We did not want McCaffrey to touch the football, and I think he had negative yards returning. So, mission accomplished. We fit a couple plays incorrectly on our kickoff coverage that we'll be better at next time. But I thought from a standpoint of the way that we were in the kicking game today, I thought we were pretty good.
You mentioned early on that you had a plan anticipating the heat and the humidity.
Yeah.
What was that plan?
Yeah, Monday. I'm not going to bore you with everything, but Monday was our Tuesday practice, and it was hot here, if you remember. And we really hit the gas on the guys for about the first 12 or 13 periods of practice, and just went hard. and the guys responded and came along with us. And then our plan was if they came along with us and we were going to take the pads off of them for the last